Okay, well, welcome NAC to the NAC Check-In Chat. This is the sixth edition of our new format that we've adopted for 2021, and we are glad to see so many people able to join us today. I've got a few opening announcements to make. And I want to start by announcing that our next check-in chat is tentatively slated for late in May. And the reason I don't have an exact date is because we are working with the CinemaCon team right now. We want to have them on to tell us about the CinemaCon event that they're planning for August. And they are trying to free up a day to join us. And so we want to be flexible enough to have them on. So as soon as we get that taken care of, we'll get a free registration link out to everyone as soon as we know. I'd like to remind everybody while you're on this call to please stay muted if you could. You can ask any questions you want by using the chat function that you can find here on the screen. Just a few announcements. CinemaCon registration that I just talked about is open, and NAC is going to have a slate of events. We'll have our trade show booth. We'll have a educational program on Thursday morning. So those things are being planned now. We'll also offer a meeting room for any of our members to use while they're in Las Vegas at the show. And then also, I think maybe our biggest announcement, and we will have information on this real soon so that you can register, but the NAC Concession and Hospitality Expo on October 27th and 28th at the Hyatt Regency in Dallas. We're going to feature some education sessions. We're going to have a one-day trade show, awards luncheon, venue breakout sessions that were very popular in the past. We'll have a few social events, and we'll also have a 4-day CCM class. And so it's going to be really nice to get back to being able to offer a live class that we've been doing online. However, I will let you know that a summer session online CCM will also be offered. Information for that will also be announced very, very soon. So today we're going to be joined by an old friend. Win Salish has been around NAC for a few years of Casablanca Ventures, and he's always brought us up to speed on data security and credit card processing. So he's going to present data security in the age of COVID-19. And we had Win on, I think last year on one of our calls, and he's been at Expo a few times as a presenter, and it just seems like it's such a meaty topic, so it's going to be great to give Win a chance to really focus on his topic today and dedicate the whole program to him. But before we welcome in Win, I want to welcome in the guys from Electrofreeze Tri-State, who are our featured sponsor today. They're our newest members. They joined in March, I believe, and we've been talking on and off, and I've been introducing them to NAC, and we thought this was a terrific way to introduce them to you, the membership of NAC. So I'm going to introduce Anthony Tortorello and Joe Agliato from Electrofreeze Tri-State. And gentlemen, why don't you take a few minutes and let NAC know about your company and what you're all about.
Excellent. Yeah, well, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak with you all. We're very excited about this. It's a great opportunity for us, and we feel for both sides. To give you guys some different options, something that you may not be thinking about before, and we just want to go through a quick little run through. My name is Joe Agliato. I'm the president and owner of the company.
Good afternoon. I'm Anthony Tortorello. I'm the director of sales development here at Electrofreeze Tri-State, and Joe's going to tell you a little bit about a history of our company, and then I'll jump into what we do and how we can help you out.
Sure. So thanks, Ant. We're a third-generation family-run business. My grandfather actually started the company in 1965, and myself and my sister are running the company now. We were lucky enough to work alongside our father for the past 7-8 years in a professional setting. We've always been around the business since we were kids. Since his passing, we've taken it over, and we're teamed up with Anthony to try to bring this to the next level and get us into some more competitive situations. We work with a lot of different companies, from big names that you may be familiar with, Marvell, Sonic, Dairy Queen, to some mom and pops and smaller chains as well. We do everything from frozen drink machines to soft serve machines to milkshake machines and everywhere in between. And Anthony will get into that a little bit more. But we have a very long-standing relationship with our manufacturer. Again, we were the original electro-freeze distributor, something we take a lot of pride in. And we do the sales and the support and the service and the parts, anything relating to the equipment and anything that you guys need. We're a full-service operation. So again, thank you. Thank you very much for giving us a chance to be a part of this. We're very honored, my sister and I, to continue the tradition that our father and our grandfathers set in place. We take it very seriously, and we're very passionate about it. And it's fun, right? I mean, who doesn't like eating ice cream and milkshakes and making hard ice cream and handing it out to kids and stuff like that? So this is all we do, all I know, all we do. And again, thank you for having us.
Thanks, Joe. So a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Anthony. I'm the Director of Sales Development here at Electro-Freeze Tri-State. I've been in food service for 30 plus years, both food service and hospitality, both on the operational side of things and as a sales consultant for food service equipment. So joining NAC was very attractive to us because I really believe that our products and services align very well with concessionaires and the venues in which they operate. The products our equipment produces, primarily ice cream, is a timeless dessert loved by all, and it'll never go out of style. So we know that for generations to come, people will still want to be eating ice cream. Now, as far as our equipment and services go, first of all, we have a company goal here at Electro-Freeze Tri-State. Our company goal is to help our customers achieve success by enhancing and improving their guest experience, all while achieving maximum profitability. So what does that mean? We want to help you offer your guests a more enhanced level of service and products and make some money while doing so. Producing products through our equipment will yield you one of the highest profit margins in food service. So if you haven't worked with soft serve or frozen cocktails or frozen slushies before, keep in mind that they will provide you with some of the highest profit margins in food service. So now let me jump into some of the equipment that we sell and manufacture. Again, our equipment is made right here in the USA, in Illinois. It's made with all top quality component parts and raw materials. Machines are built to last. We're out in the field. We have machines out in the field 20 plus years, which is a good thing for our customers. Not a great thing for a sales guy like me who's trying to sell more equipment and people are holding on to it for 20 plus years. But it's a little testament to how these pieces of equipment are built. So first off, I'd like to start with our soft serve machine. Everybody knows soft serve ice cream. These machines will produce soft serve ice cream, frozen yogurt, custard. They can produce Dole Whip or non-dairy products as such, sorbets. Many different things can be run through these products. You'll see these soft serve machines in Carvel, in Dairy Queen, on a Mr. Softy truck driving around Manhattan, and endless and many, many more customers that we partner with, that they run their product through our machines. They've trusted in us for years, and we have great partnerships with them. Next, we have a milkshake machine. We're the only manufacturer on the market that has a machine that dispenses the milkshake and mixes at the same time. What does this do? It helps you push more product out the door efficiently. It eliminates the step of adding milk and ice cream together and putting into a blender at a different station. It all is done on one station, which is the machine behind me, one lever pull. It actually dispenses the milkshake and spins it at the same time. You add your particulate in, and there you go, milkshake, quick and out the door. That's why Five Guys, burgers and fries, trusts our machine to do their milkshakes, not only nationally, but internationally. We worked with them from the ground up to build that milkshake program for them. When they first opened their doors, they did not have that milkshake program. And with the help of us and our equipment, they were able to launch that. After the milkshakes, our next popular is our slushy machine. And we have different varieties of slushy machines. Ones that freeze frozen cocktails to non-alcoholic cocktails. One that can support drinks with fruit, fresh fruit and dairy, like an iced cappuccino or a frozen fruit smoothie, and everything in between. So we have floor models, we have countertop models, and that holds true with every line I've talked about so far. So whether you want to make a frozen lemonade for kids at your amusement park or do a frozen cocktail for adults at the bar, we can help you achieve that. Now, last, we have a batch freezer. A batch freezer makes large quantities of ice cream, sorbets, gelato, ices. Some of our customers, like Rita's Ice and Ralph's Ice, they produce all their ices to be scooped in their stores out of our batch freezers. So again, if anybody is doing anything with large production, this is the machine you would do it on. Going back to the soft serve, just keep in mind that everyone, like I said, thinks of cups and cones, but there's so many different applications, making novelties, flying saucers, making pints and quarts. When you dispense a vanilla ice cream, you can mix in particulate and flavorings and make any kind of pints and quarts you want. So if anybody has any retail applications, that could be done as well. Just briefly going to go over some of the services that we have that complement our equipment. One would be space layout and design to achieve maximum efficiency and operational functionability. Okay, so rely on us. We're not just going to sell you a machine. We could come in, you could tell us you have 1,000 square feet to work with. We will help you lay out that store to achieve, like I said, maximum efficiency and operational functionability. We also know what equipment is necessary. We have partnerships with other manufacturers that complement our equipment. So keep that in mind. The next thing is our partnerships with mix providers and recipe development. So if you have a product that you don't want to make just vanilla and chocolate ice cream, you want something else, you have a vision for something, we will work with you, with our mix partners, to find the right mix, develop recipes, and even at times, like we did with Five Guys, have a custom product designed just for your operation. Service, parts, and additional support. So these services go on way after you purchase a machine. If you call us in a year from now, after you purchase a machine and want to pivot into some new products, we're here for support on that. We also provide service for equipment. If there is any problems with the equipment, we have a network of service technicians nationally that are all factory trained and certified. And we even do have some now internationally because of our program with Five Guys. I mentioned earlier, we have other manufacturer partners for dipping cabinets, glass chillers, anything you may need to put this whole operation together. We can help you not only lay it out, but help you find the right equipment to complement our equipment. And lastly, we do have other equipment that we represent, a company called Smoke-A-Rama that basically does cooking equipment just for concessionaires. They have a product called the Instaburger that doesn't require a hood, or it's all approved for no grease-laden vapors, and can be plugged in and operated just about anywhere. And we also have a pressure smoker that we rep through them as well. So lastly, I know, Chris, again, thank you for allotting us this time. I want to try to wrap it up. And I want to talk about this past year with the pandemic and COVID. Believe it or not, a lot of our customers did better than they have done in previous years, which really made us feel good about our product and what we're providing. And a lot of the reason behind that is because the walk-up window, which has been a staple in our business for a long time, was really what a lot of people had to go to. And then just the method in which the product is consumed. You really don't need knives, forks, plates, anything. It's kind of just given to you. You can walk and eat it and everything. So it's nice to see that there's something out there that did well during the pandemic, and we're proud to say that we're a part of that. So again, we're really excited to be a part of this group. And I did want to mention also that now that we're involved with the NAC, we do have some special pricing and special benefits for the NAC members who would like to think about partnering with us. And again, we're very excited to be a part of this. We look forward to talking to any of you and all of you if you feel that you should want to talk about our services. Joe, we may be thinking about doing a podcast here too. We like this setup and we kind of feel comfortable here doing this. So, Joe,
Yeah.
anything closing remarks?
No, other than that, thank you again for giving us this opportunity. We are very excited about it. I feel that we can, and we want to be a partner with you guys. We're not, like Anthony said, to just sell you a machine and say, see you later, good luck. My grandfather would be very, very upset about that. That's not the way we do business. We're here for you every step of the way. There's no simple or large task we can't handle. And we thank you. We're excited. We'd love to partner with you guys and help you get your business to the next level.
All right. Well, thank you. That's Joe on the left and Anthony on the right, and thank you guys for putting together the great backdrop. It looks like a TV set, so congratulations on that. You can find their contact information on our online directory, or if you want to get a hold of them, contact me directly, and I'll be glad to put you guys in touch. But I think you're going to enjoy your time. So I hope everybody out there, I know you're all muted, but help me just in kind of welcoming Joe and Anthony to NAC. So thank you very much, gentlemen. We're getting some applause. So
appreciate it.
So that's going to bring us to our feature presentation today, data security in the age of COVID-19. And Win Salish from Casablanca Ventures is going to lead us through the jumps on this one. And I think it's really timely in that Win shared with us just yesterday that there's been so many more problems with the area of fraud in this time of COVID-19. So with that being said, Win, I'll throw it to you. You can share your screen if you'd like.
Very good. Can you hear me okay, Chris?
I can hear you just fine.
Very good. Hold on. And there we go. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I hope that what I'm going to present will be useful to you. The presentation is available on a PDF format that I'll be happy to send to you afterwards. I set up my company, Casablanca Ventures, 20 years ago, and it's founded on the premise that educated consumers are our best customers. And so I teach courses all over the country on credit card processing and data security. I treat people the way I want to be treated. That's my mantra. And so the rates and fees that we get for clients for credit card processing and the diligence with which we follow up on educational efforts to keep people abreast of the latest developments are first rate. I got my degree many years ago at the School of Hotel Administration at Cornell University, and on the front door is this plaque quoting Ellsworth M. Statler, the father of the hotel industry in America. Life is service. The one who progresses is the one who gives his fellow men a little more, a little better service. And that's what I strive to do by staying with all of my clients personally and not relegating them to anonymous call centers anywhere. Casablanca Ventures, as I said, I founded 20 years ago, named it after my favorite movie. And we provide everything from free analysis and savings on credit card processing to new merchant accounts, to all sorts of technology solutions, payroll, and virtually everything else that's related to the payment processing world. We provide very personal concierge service, which sets us apart from the rest of the payments world. And I'm a partner with the Secret Service on the Electronic Crimes Task Force. I come out of about 60 years in show business, everything from onstage, backstage, into the executive suite, running food and beverage at venues all over the world. I've run food and beverage at sites, about 1,000 sites in about 70 countries, and including a 16,000 seat stadium, movie theaters, live theaters, performing arts centers, and Air Force One. Well, they don't have concessions, but the White House East Wing Theater in Camp David, and the State Department embassies all around the world. So whether it be motion picture distribution, exhibition, or food and beverage, that's my specialty. I'm also a merchant risk master. I've taken courses in assessing merchant risk so that we can teach you how to better protect yourselves. And I'm one of the few electronic transaction association certified payments professionals. Less than 1% of the payments industry has that designation. These are just some of the organizations that I've been a member of and that I've received training from. So let's get into the data security world, which is a bloody nightmare. And it's much like playing whack-a-mole, it seems. Just as soon as you plug one hole, another opens up. As soon as you resolve one threat, another comes around. And it's never ending. COVID-19 in particular posed a special problem in this regard. Over 67%, there's been a 67% increase in attacks this past year from bad actors all over the world. Whether trying to implant malware into your computers, sending phishing emails to try to get your passwords and login IDs, to sending ransomware to lock up your system. It is an exponential growth that we have seen worldwide. And that's why you've got to be even more on guard now than ever before. So as I said before, it's phishing and malware have been the two primary methods of compromises. Also, many of these people have registered domain names that look very close to what real world websites are to confuse you, or they contain bait words like coronavirus or COVID-19. So you have to be very careful about that. Trust your gut, trust the red light in your head. And if something looks odd, be very careful. Also, in this day and age of all of us remote accessing and connecting into corporate computers from home, many of us are using LogMeIn and various other remote desktops. And if you don't use a good password on that, or if you leave it open when you're not using it, bad actors could get into your system and then use that access way to get into your corporate system and wreak havoc there. So please make sure your passwords are complex, which we will address shortly, and that you don't leave programs open that don't need to be open. And if you think you're too small to be attacked, you're wrong. 43% of cyber attacks actually target small businesses because they know that you don't have legions of IT professionals watching the code as it scrolls by from your website. And 2/3 of small businesses that are hacked go out of business within 6 months because of the massive fines and legal costs and penalties that come down on top of you like an avalanche. And I will detail that out for you as well today. These folks can get into your system by any means, any method that has access to your system. So if you have the Coca-Cola machines with 500 flavors, they monitor the syrup levels over the internet. So make sure that your router has solid passwords and that the Coke machine is similarly protected. Don't use the default passwords that came with the machine because those are published usually somewhere on the web and the hackers know this. Payroll processors, if they have access to your system, or other vendors, all of them are potential doorways that hackers could avail themselves of. So make sure that every company and entity that has access to your system is taking the right steps on their end to protect their system, which in turn will help protect you. And what are these guys looking for? They're looking for anything that they can resell. Everything from account data to customer data, your personal identifiable information, from birth dates and anniversary dates to home addresses to names of your children and your wife or your husband, addresses, everything. Now, of the ways that people get into your system, 90% are phishing. 90% are phishing. Phishing is when I send you an email. If I'm a bad actor, I send you an email and I ask you to click on a link because your PayPal account's about to be closed down or something like that. and click on this link and to verify the security of your account. Well, don't click on the link, because odds are it's going to go to someone else other than PayPal. Eventually it'll be at PayPal, but in between there'll be a middleman who will be gathering every keystroke that you make, which means your login, username, and password. And phishing accounts, as I said, for 91%. It's just scary as heck. The key is don't click on embedded links. If you get an email from Chase that says they want to confirm your information, close out the email, go to your browser, open up the URL that you normally use, and use that to access your account to see what's up and if things are needed. The reason is that even if it says chase.com, it could very well be a bogus email address. I mean, let's take an easier one, Citibank. If I change one of the I's in Citibank to a lowercase l, okay, it looks very similar, but it's a totally different URL. So these are things you've got to be careful of. Also, in phishing emails, if you check the grammar and syntax and punctuation, very often something will be off about it. That's a red light right there. So be very careful, be very suspicious, and read these things carefully, and don't panic and don't jump to conclusions that it needs to be attended to. So one of the lessons that we learned is John Podesta clicked on a change password link, and that's how Hillary Clinton's files got accessed. So, they're going after the big guys as well as the small guys. Now, what do we do with all these stolen credit card numbers and names and address and everything else? Where is it all hidden? Well, when you go onto the web and you open up Google or any of the browsers and you put in a search, you can only see 4% of all the pages on the web. The rest are concealed in password protected locations. 96% are concealed. That's called the deep web. The deep web is a legal entity. It was formed by the United States Navy years ago, where they could securely communicate with their agents, with their ships. And now it is used by academia to put databases online, medical facilities to store patient records, so on and so forth. But down at the bottom of that is the dark web, and that's where all of the bad actors live. And they access it by Tor, the onion router. It's an anonymizer that bounces your request all around the world to various servers, so it can't be tracked. It's perfectly legal to download. You can do it. Nothing will happen. When you have Tor, you can noodle around the dark web. Most sites are protected by passwords, but there are some that you could actually pull up and see sites that are selling credit card and other information. To give you an idea of the value of that information, these are two charts from the web, from the dark web, that give you an idea of the value of various things that they're selling. Everything from bad actions like murder, rape, and bombings to collecting Social Security numbers and being valued at about $1 a piece, to Facebook accounts, $1 for one with 15 friends. Well, we all have more than 15 friends, so most of them bring a lot more money than that. These are two pages that are actually selling information. And, this one is selling Bank of America between 2 and 50,000 card numbers for $400. And it just goes on and on. It's so easy to get trained in this. You can, for $12.99, you can actually find online a training program in how to hack social media accounts. This is a sample frame of ransomware. One day you turn on your computer and this lovely little thing pops up or something like it. And basically what it's telling you is that everything on your computer has been encrypted. And unless you pay a certain amount in Bitcoin, usually a fairly reasonable amount because they don't want to scare you away. Once you do that, they'll decrypt it for you, or if you don't do it by the deadline, it'll be lost forever. Everybody recommends, the Secret Service, the FBI, everybody recommends that you don't pay. The better way is to have a good backup system in place that collects versions of your files. And then if you get a ransomware attack, wipe your hard drive entirely, go to your offline backup system. Hopefully it's in the cloud somewhere. Look for the version that is still intact and not corrupted, and download that back down onto your computer, and then you're back up and running. The ransomware, they actually are very helpful. They give you good instructions. They're very friendly, and they give good service because they don't want this whole thing to become obsolete. It's a scam that they're running, and it's going great for them. But be very careful. When you respond to a phishing email, it could very well have attached to it a ransomware file. Okay, and we'll get into that in a second. In the past 12 months alone, 22% of organizations had to cease business operations because of ransomware. 81% of businesses have experienced a cyber attack, and a third of those were victims of ransomware specifically. And it doesn't take very long. Once you click on a bad email with malware attached, within 3 seconds, they could have everything loaded in. So it's not something that you can, oh, I made a mistake and back out of it. By the time you do that, you're corrupted. And there are cyber attacks that happen every 39 seconds in this world. When we do the trade shows, I'll have a screen on my computer showing the actual real-time attacks that are happening around the world. And it is absolutely frightening to watch the flow back and forth. The Target breach, if you recall that, it occurred because the hackers discovered that all Target stores use the same HVAC contractor. And so emails were sent to the employees of the HVAC company telling employees, click on this link, open this picture, this video, and watch this cat do this cute little trick. Well, a whole bunch of them did it real fast within the first hour. When they did that, malware was implanted on the HVAC company's computers, which then that night, when the computers dialed into all the Target stores to check on the temperatures, the malware effectively swam upstream, infected the computers. The hackers logged into those computers, found a folder labeled POS. They put another piece of malware in that. And from that moment forward, they were getting in real time every password, every credit card number, every PIN number that was either swiped in, key entered in, or came in over the company's website. In the end, 70 million of these pieces of data were stolen for a value to the hackers of almost $600 million. And it cost Target well over $300 million by the time reduced consumer trust was factored in and lost sales and profits. Equifax, as you recall, was breached, and they were breached because they were lazy and didn't download the latest security patches from Microsoft. And the hackers found this, and they took advantage of that to get into the system. CEO fraud is a big risk right now, where you get an email that looks like it came from your CEO or CFO asking, say, I'm running an analysis and I need the payroll information of this department, including all the names and other information. And, you know, unless you go and call the CFO and say, did you really send this? You could be sending information and that's going to get sidetracked by people you don't want to see that information. So how long does it take a typical company to discover that they've even been breached? Surprisingly, it takes almost about 9 or 10 months on average. Some it takes many, many years to figure it out. And right now it's costing about $170 per each data record that is stolen. So if you think about how long a data breach exists before it's discovered, if it could be months and months or years, think of how many credit card numbers and other pieces of information go through your system. If you have a movie theater, how many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of tickets are you selling a year that are bought on credit cards? It's just very scary. And here's a rundown of the costs that are going to come down on top of you if a breach is traced back to your business. Everything from hiring the forensic investigator to figure out what happened, to remediation, shutting it all down and fixing it, to the card brands fines, to free credit monitoring that you have to pay for every cardholder who was impacted, to the payment that the card brands, the issuing banks demand for reissuing the credit cards. They make you pay for that. The legal fees, the public relations fees, the civil judgments, and it just goes on and on. So it can really put you out of business really fast if you're not careful. So what is the solution for this? Well, first of all, being very careful with your IT infrastructure and how you respond to phishing emails, but also make sure that you have cyber liability, breach insurance. Every insurance carrier offers this now. It is not expensive. One of our clients, I don't sell insurance, so I have no stake in this, but one of our clients that's a movie theater that I do the credit card processing for got a policy for $1,500 a year, and they have about a dozen screens. So it's affordable, but it really protects you, and your insurance company will know the liability that you have based upon the volume of your business and the way you run your business. So they'll be able to guide you in this. Now, also 76% of Americans said they would stop doing business with a company following a data breach. So not only are those hard costs going to hit you, but you're going to lose customers, and it's going to take years for them to come back to you, because the card brands and the banks that are affected love to publicize businesses that are breached. They love it. And because it helps scare other businesses into proper procedures. Now, the biggest problem with getting access, with hackers accessing files or websites they shouldn't, are bad passwords. It's amazing how many people use weak passwords today. This is a list of the 50 most used passwords, and odds are one or more of you probably sees one of your passwords on here. If you see it, the hackers know it. So change now. 73% of people use the same password for multiple sites. You shouldn't do that. 33% use the same password for every site. 32% of people save passwords and other login information on a cell phone. I mean, it's just, this is all opening it up to problems with the hackers. They're very smart people. Now, one solution is I change my password to incorrect. So whenever I forget it, the system will tell me your password is incorrect. Another is, a way to format passwords is at least 8 characters, upper and lowercase letter, a symbol or a number, a hieroglyph, a haiku, a musical note, a feather of a hawk, and a drop of unicorn blood. Or my favorite solution is just taking a hammer to the darn system and being done with it. But here, password entropy, it's a measure of how complex a password is. If you take the word troubadour and what I call corrupted with numbers and symbols, at 1,000 guesses a second, it'll take a computer 3 days to crack that, okay? But if you take just 4 unrelated words and squeeze them together with no spaces to create another word that's not searchable in any dictionary, that'll take 550 years to crack at that same speed. So this is the method that is now being recommended by most IT professionals. Take 3 or 4 words that are not related, squeeze them together and use those, but use different ones for each of your sensitive websites. Now, a magazine subscription website, who cares? Use whatever word you want because there's nothing sensitive on that. But if it's a financial website or anything similar that contains sensitive information that you do not want strangers to have, make sure you're using unique, complex passwords. And here's a chart that you can study when we send this to you that will give you an idea of how long of the entropy level of various lengths of passwords. Now, how do I store all these stupid passwords? It boggles the mind. There's something called a password manager. It's an app for your phone. It also will work on your computer. The two of them will often talk to each other and update each other. When you put a password in there, it'll actually populate onto a website when you open up that website. If you go to the link shown here, and there's some other links as well that I can give you, you can pull up charts that compare the various password manager apps that are out there in terms of cost. Some are free, some cost money, and various bells and whistles that each one has to determine which is the best for you. Password manager apps are usually encrypted to Defense Department standards, so they're highly, highly encrypted. And you want to create a really good password for your app, and don't forget it because they don't store it. So if you lose it, everything is gone. But password manager app is one thing that you should all have at this point. And here's some advice for passwords. Never use the same password twice, and no, Poodle 3 and Poodle 4 don't count as different passwords. Use the long randomly generated password or word strings, as I said before, at least 8 characters long, okay? Don't use personal information, keyboard patterns like QWERTY or sequential numbers. Store passwords on a password manager app. Change them manually, especially for the sensitive sites. Okay. And even so, a good password written down and stored in a secure location is still much better than a bad password memorized. Your mobile devices, keep them up to date with the latest software. Okay. Apple and the various Android companies, they release operating system updates periodically, both to give you new bells and whistles, but also, as I said before, to patch vulnerabilities. So as soon as you get notice of one, download it. You should also freeze all of your credit records. If you go to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, each one of them will let you freeze, not lock. You don't lock it, freeze it, your credit records, so that nobody can pull that record without your permission. And that means nobody can create a mortgage or a loan or other financial instrument that's bogus that you do not authorize. Now, you will need to use the PIN number they give you to go in and unfreeze it if you're going to apply for a loan or a credit card. But that's a small price to pay for securing your financial records. Okay. Now, it isn't foolproof. Criminals can still file bogus tax returns in your name or make bogus medical claims against your medical insurance. So file your taxes as early as possible. Monitor your insurance records. And this is something that most people don't understand. Never use a debit card for anything other than bank ATM withdrawals. Consumer protection is very weak on debit cards. If your debit card is compromised, they'll empty your checking account. It will take your bank weeks to reimburse you. And you don't get any rewards or points on your debit card. Credit cards have much stronger consumer protections. You call your credit card company and say, that's not my transaction. They take it off your account or they issue you a new card and it's done. Now, if you're one of these people who uses a debit card because you don't want finance charges, the simple way around that is to take one of your credit cards, log into it online, set it up for automatic payment of the full statement value each month. It will automatically pay out of your checking account the full statement value, so there you don't incur any finance charges, and you'll be getting all the points and miles that they give, and you'll have fuller, better protection from the consumer protection side of things. So please stop using debit cards to buy things with, because you're exposing yourself. Also, by law, you're entitled to getting a copy of your annual credit report, your personal financial credit report from each of the 3 major credit reporting agencies for free. The only site you can do that at is annualcreditreport.com. You can do one of each every 12 months. I personally go to each one. I pick Equifax now, I'll do Experian in 4 months from now, I'll do TransUnion 8 months from now, and then I'll repeat the cycle so that at least 3 times a year, I'm looking at one of the reports. Okay, so go to annualcreditreport.com and start looking at your credit reports to make sure there's no issues there. Be careful of all those lovely little stickers you put on your car. They tell a hacker a lot of information about you. Whether you have a dog or, whether you have kids and, where you like to vacation and things like that. Be careful. People, these are sending information to people you may not want to see. So let's start summarizing here. This is from Interpol, and you want to back up your online and offline files regularly and securely to a backup that's separate from your computer in the cloud or elsewhere. When you're using the cloud, remember that all the cloud is someone else's computer. So before you use a cloud service, make sure you investigate them carefully to make sure they've got a good reputation and they adequately protect all your files. Strengthen your home network. Make sure your router is using customized passwords, not default ones. Similarly, if you use Ring doorbells or any of those devices that talk to you, don't use their default passwords that came with the device. Those are publicized on the web in the support pages of the vendor of those systems. Change the passwords to customized passwords, okay? Use strong passwords and keep your software updated regularly. Manage your social media profiles. Check all your privacy and security settings, and avoid at all costs opening any suspicious emails or attachments and delete them quickly. Think twice before clicking on links. Maintain healthy suspicion because there's a lot of nonsense going on out there. Protect your passwords. Beware of strange networks. If you are offered two-factor authentication, where when you go to log in, you put your password in and then it texts you a code, that is very good. Opt in for it. Okay. So concluding, breach insurance, very important. Make sure you're PCI and GDPR compliant. GDPR, of course, is the European data security privacy laws. Use multi-factor authentication and smart passwords. Segment your network. If you are a movie theater, for instance, and you have a Wi-Fi system that your guests can access, make sure it's segmented from your management Wi-Fi network so that if a guest goes online and downloads something questionable and there's malware attached to it, it's not going to poison your management software and your management system. In this day and age of working remotely, many people are using programs like Log Me In and things like that. Be very careful. Make sure your password is strong for that, and make sure you don't leave the program open when you don't need to, because if you download a piece of malware on your home computer, it can use that access to get into your corporate computers and wreak havoc. Okay. Make sure you have robust firewalls and that all of your virus programs are up to date and your operating systems are up to date. Microsoft releases updates almost every Tuesday, and it's usually to plug security holes that they've discovered. So make sure your computer is set to download that and install it automatically every week. When QuickBooks releases a new version, they don't do it just to give you more bells and whistles. They also do it to plug leaks. So make sure you try to keep the latest software on your system. Conduct a thorough risk assessment. Look around your business and determine what pieces of information am I storing on my computers that could be of value to somebody. Financial information, R&D information, sales figures, payroll information, personal information of your employees or guests. Any of it is usable by somebody. Okay. Monitor your systems. If anything starts happening that looks odd, if your system starts slowing down, or if pop-ups start occurring that you don't expect, bring in somebody, if you don't have them on team, to review your system and its security to make sure everything is okay. Freeze your credit now, and find somebody who understands the confusing world of credit card processing and data security to be your trusted advisor. It could be a relative, it could be a friend, or it could be somebody like myself who has training in this and has been doing it for decades. So anyway, that's why I do this. It's basically to start friendships and to help people in the industry that I love. As I said, I've been in leisure entertainment for over half a century, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So please reach out to me if I can answer questions or be of assistance in any way, shape, or form. I'd be more than happy to do it. And thank you.
All right. Well, wow, Win, thank you very much for all that great information. I can tell you right now, had this been an exam on cybersecurity, I would have failed miserably. I mean, so you know, some of these things are actually a little frightening, I think. But is it fair to say, Win, that if you use some of the common sense precautions that you've put forward, that you can be pretty confident about going on with your business as long as you're kind of covering off a few things?
Absolutely. The most important thing is good, strong passwords.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's the most important thing. The second most is watch out for phishing emails. If it sounds too good to be true or it looks suspicious, trust your gut. Okay. And then, of course, make sure you keep everything updated. And, if you have information on your computers that you don't really need to have there, get rid of it.
Okay.
Either export it to a thumb drive or delete it entirely, because it's just sitting there waiting to be stolen.
Okay. All right. On the topic of cyber breach insurance, is that something you can just talk to your insurance company about?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't sell insurance, so again, there's no conflict here. Every insurance company today has cyber insurance for you. It's a rider, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. And it depends on the size of your business and the volume and everything else. But it's definitely a discussion that you should have if you haven't already done so. Absolutely.
Okay. When we heard a couple of weeks ago from a guest that with all of the using of cashless payment systems, mm-hmm. that really had to come about because of the necessity due to COVID-19. And the guest, he characterized it as, we had to get into a time machine, okay, and go ahead a couple of years. It was coming anyway, but it just got fast forwarded. And I guess one of the questions I have for you, if you have any insight on this, is did the use of the technology outpace the security? Or do you think that we're on step with that?
I think we're fairly on step with it. I mean, if you use a contactless device, if you have a credit card with that little contactless symbol, which sort of looks like the Wi-Fi symbol turned on its side, okay, that means there's an NFC chip in your card that can communicate by tapping. If you just tap it on a terminal, that when it exchanges information, it's all encrypted mm-hmm. to PCI standards. Okay. So that is fine. That was made, when they were developing that, contactless has been in the works for 20 years, but only when COVID hit did it finally take off.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah.
And when with all the people working at home, another thing that maybe would exacerbate or pick up the speed on people being able to take advantage of all of us and being able to possibly trace our interactions back to our companies. Is that a fair statement, that that's one of the big factors that's gone on in the last? Okay.
It is. The hackers know that we all have ADD right now, that we're all not paying full attention, and that many of us are working off our home computers that don't have the advantage of a full IT team, which you have in your corporate office, watching over the system. They're watching the codes scroll by at a mile a minute and watching for anything that looks odd. Mm-hmm. They're not doing that to your home computer.
Okay.
And so the hackers know that that's an easy way in. Yeah.
Okay. this, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but in terms of a password manager, which one do you use?
I actually am using an old one called Companion Link. And it doesn't have all the functionalities I want, but because it's old, it doesn't allow me to download the passwords into a newer version.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've just been lazy, but it is totally secure. It just requires, it doesn't give me all the bells and whistles that are available today in that. I mean, if you go to cnet.com, cnet.com, or pcmag.com, or the link that was on the slide, and if you type in the search box password manager, they will come up with all sorts of ones. And very often they have a chart that compares the most popular ones, both in terms of the price, whether it's free or not, and what the price is, and then all of the bells and whistles that it might offer. And you just got to look and see what might suit your needs the best, whether you want an app that syncs between your laptop and computer and your cell phone via the cloud, or in my case, mine will only sync via my home Wi-Fi system. So when I'm at the NAC convention, I cannot update my two files.
Okay.
And that's fine. You know, it's a little more secure because I don't trust hotel Wi-Fi systems. But there are systems out there that do that you might want to use. There are others that will, as I said, will populate your username and password into a website when you go to log into it automatically, saving you from having to. Right now with Companion Link, I have to open it up and look for that, my Chase AARP card number and password and populate it in. I happen to remember it off the top of my head, but others I don't. So it just depends on what you want to pay, if anything, and what bells and whistles you feel you need.
Okay. Okay. I always think and I've heard you tell us this before, and I'm always impressed by it. And I think it sounds pretty cool that you've actually served on the Electronic Crimes Task Force.
Right.
And what I'm wondering is, as far as law enforcement and finally catching up with these guys, because when this stuff happens to you, you feel very violated. It's an egregious crime that people are doing very casually,
right,
because they don't see the victim, right?
That's
and
right.
So where do you think law enforcement or the powers that be are, as far as maybe at some point getting on top of this situation?
It's a global challenge because most of the bad actors are located in Eastern Europe and Russia and Nigeria and countries that have very weak cybersecurity laws. And because they're using anonymizers like the Tor browser, it is extremely difficult to track them. And even if you do track them back to the source computer, they move constantly and change servers constantly. So it is again, it's very much like playing whack-a-mole.
Mm-hmm.
Now they do score victories. They absolutely do. But for every one that they take down, 3 more are getting active.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that's going to go away. We have to learn to deal with it on our own and defend ourselves and use smart practices like being aware of phishing attempts and malware issues and maintaining good passwords and things like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we are about out of time. I think I'd like to consider this as not so much a presentation, but an ongoing conversation.
Definitely.
Something that we always need to pay attention to and help each other out with and share information. So Win, thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll be speaking to you real soon.
Thank you so much.
Also wanted to thank our featured sponsor again, Electro-Freeze Tri-State, Joe and Anthony. They're on the screen there. If you want to reach them, they're on our online directory. You can contact me. You can contact Barbara Aslan. We'll be happy to put you in touch, but we're happy to welcome them once again into the NAC family. Okay, I'm going to just wind up by just repeating those reminders. The next NAC Check-In Chat is we're going to just say it's going to be in late May, and it's going to feature the CinemaCon team. And we just need to do that because we want to make sure that they can join us. So we're working out a day, but communication and free registration will be out soon on that. As far as CinemaCon is concerned, registration is open right now. So it's a good time to check that out. Go to the CinemaCon website. And remember, if you're an NAC member, there's significant discounts to be had when you register for CinemaCon. And finally, our event, the Concession and Hospitality Expo, is scheduled for October 27th and 28th at the Hyatt Regency in Dallas. Information will be coming out real soon on how to register for that. If you're interested in sponsorships, if you're interested in displaying at the trade show. But things are looking really good out there, and we think it's going to continue. And finally, just wanted to thank everyone again for joining us. This has been the 6th edition of the NAC Check-In Chat, production of the National Association of Concessionaires, where food meets fun. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks.